More on that breaking news coming out of Iraq now. Let's go to Fox News' Benjamin Hall, who is in Amman, Jordan, with more. And Benjamin, we have this initial report that Iraq is under a missile attack from Iran. They are either cruise or short-range ballistic missiles. This is from a U.S. military source. It is saying it is all over the country. What is it that you are hearing?
Yeah, that's right. This news breaking about 20 minutes ago, and we still are trying to confirm the scale of it. The one confirmed target has been the Ain al-Assad base in the west of Iraq. It is the second largest U.S. military base in the country, and 6 rockets are believed to have landed there. We don't know if they are cruise missiles, short-range ballistic missiles, but they have, according to a U.S. official, come out of Iraq. And Hezbollah-linked Twitter pages are now claiming that the revenge has begun. Those are the details we have for the moment. This is developing at the moment, and we're still confirming the extent of this attack. But that's 6 rockets landing inside the Al-Assad airbase in the west. And we've been waiting some time to see how Iran might respond. There had been a few smaller rocket attacks in the last few days at other bases, but nothing like this, nothing out of Iran. It would be significant if projectiles were fired from Iran into Iraq, striking U.S. bases. So we're waiting to confirm more about that. Today in Iran, we saw the parliament classify the attack against Qasem Soleimani as a terrorist attack and an act of war. They also classified the U.S. military as a terror entity. The foreign minister spoke out earlier as well, talking about the U.S. and their role. Have a listen. Sorry, we don't seem to have that sound right now, but as he said that he felt that it was an act of war against them, that revenge would come, and indeed we have heard a variety of options in terms of their retaliation. Iraq have suggested everything from attacking U.S. bases, like we may be seeing now. They've talked about attacking ships in the Persian Gulf. They've talked about attacking Saudi Arabia and Israel. Everyone has been on tenterhooks here in the Middle East, waiting to see how they might respond. It certainly has been made clear by the Iranians that it would be a military strike and that would be against U.S. military targets. Whether that's what we're seeing at the moment, we can't confirm at the moment. But certainly a major escalation if indeed this is Iran firing into Iraq and at a U.S. base.
Benjamin, if I can interrupt you for a second. So this is coming out of the AP in Tehran. They're saying that Iran state TV is saying that Tehran launches tens of surface-to-surface missiles in Iraq's at Iraq's Ain Assad air base housing U.S. troops. So they're saying tens of surface-to-surface missiles. Does that go along with what you've been hearing?
Again, there are some conflicting reports at the moment. We know that 6 have landed inside the base itself. We've heard reports of up to 35, but that senior U.S. official saying they were being fired all over the country. This is a breaking development, so we don't yet have the full details. But certainly, the Iranians, as you point out, now saying that the revenge attack has started. I think we just have to wait now in the coming minutes, hours, to see what extent they retaliate.
All right, Benjamin Hall, thank you for that report.
Agency reports Iran has fired 6 missiles at the Ain al-Assad base in western Iraq. It's released this photo purportedly showing 1 missile being fired from Iran. The base is home to Iraqi and U.S. armed forces. Fox News reports senior U.S. military figures have confirmed a base was hit by either short-range ballistic missiles or cruise missiles. The apparent attack is believed to be in response to the United States assassination of top Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has spoken with the Chief of the Defence Force and Foreign Affairs Minister following reports of the attack. This is a developing story, and we will bring you more details when they do come to hand.
The United States is not seeking a war with Iran, but we are prepared to finish one.
Defense Secretary Mark Esper says he expects Iran to retaliate for the killing of their general Qasem Soleimani. He adds the U.S. wants a diplomatic solution, but it's on Iran to de-escalate.
We're not the ones that have escalated this over the past arguably 40 years and certainly over the past several months. It's been Iran through its proxies.
The administration says when the president decided to have Soleimani killed, an Iranian attack on American interests was believed to be just days away.
If you're looking for imminence, you needn't look no further than the days that led up to the strike that was taken against Soleimani.
Series of tactical actions by the president in the absence of a strategy are in the makings of a tragedy that the president has made.
The defense secretary also says our military is not pulling out of Iraq. Sunday, Iraq's parliament voted to expel U.S. troops from the country. However, the decision is not official until the prime minister signs off.
If we leave, that would mean that Iran would have a much bigger foothold, and the people of Iraq do not want to see Iran running the country.
The U.S. has to leave Iraq. What's going to happen? It's going to embolden Iran, and it's going to lead to the resurgence of ISIS.
To worry about Iraq, not Iran. I knew why, because I'd been through the Pentagon right after 9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."